Hi, in this video, I have a special guest. Her name is
Hi.
Huong Do, and she's a fashion designer. And she's on here because she had told me a story earlier about a particularly interesting math problem that shows up in fashion design. So Huong Do is a graduate of LaSalle's College of Design in Singapore. And right now she's very active in the fashion scene in Vietnam. So you have your own label, right?
Yes, I have my own label. It's called Graphé, and I'm actually studying in my shop right now.
Nice. So those are your designs in the back?
Yes, those are some of my designs.
Okay. And toward your left, my right, I see something that sort of look curvy like an apple. Is that a...
Oh, that one?
Oh, okay. It's a mirror. At first, I thought you have one of those fancy door frame that looks curvy. Oh,
yeah, it's a mirror.
Okay, so those are some more of your designs that are in the store.
Yeah,
nice.
That's another rack that is reflected on the mirror there.
Last time you were in the US, it was quite a few years ago. It was before the pandemic, and you were at the New York Fashion Week. But back then, you were not working for yourself yet. You were working for someone else.
Yeah, at that time, I was Mr. Country assistant. He's the most established fashion designer in Vietnam. I was his assistant, yeah.
So we're going to watch some footage from the Công Chí runway at the New York Fashion Week.
Okay, I was just gonna talk a little bit more about Mr. Country. He started back in 2000. He was the first Vietnamese member of the Asia Couture Federation. He was also the first Vietnamese to join New York Fashion Week and then to be featured on Vogue.
On Vogue? That's like...
And now he have dressed a very long list of Hollywood celebrities.
That's a big deal. So as his assistant, what did you do in general, and also what did you do at the New York Fashion Week?
So being his assistant, he has a total of 3 assistants. So we basically help him with everything. So we would divide the work. We will be in charge of his plans, his deadlines, help him with the following up with the designs, the schedule, yeah, everything basically, even the budgeting. And for New York Fashion Week in particular, we start from scratch. So we find a stylist. He didn't speak English, so we help him coordinate with the organizer. And there's a lot of people you have to work with. People who are in charge of the show, the director, the PR agency, the modeling, the model, the runway, the setup. So you had a hand in setting up all of that stuff that we saw earlier in the film, in the footage. Yeah. At the footage, I was backstage. I was following up like which model will go out first. And then at the end, there was little mishaps. One zipper broke. So the entire line changed. So I have to fix that as well. Because like when people was fixing the zipper, she couldn't go out in time. And when you change one dress, everything changes because the color changed. And you know, we pay tens of thousands of dollars from the stylist to decide which model go first. And now everything is messed up. Yeah, so I was backstage trying to fix that. Wow. But I don't think you can see it from the clip.
I guess not. I guess not. I guess you.
But I can see some broken zipper there.
So right now you have your own fashion line, and you design women's clothing only, or men also?
I'm still just designing women's clothing. Yeah.
Is that a big deal in fashion design? Is that like bigger than men?
Bigger, I'm not sure, but because men they buy less, but they're willing to pay more when they buy.
Oh, really?
And yeah, they don't think so much about the price. Like,
Oh my God, I didn't know we're such suckers. So we buy.
and then in menswear, it might seem more simple, but there's tailoring, bespoke, and there's also tens of thousands of dollars gowns and also tens of thousands of dollars suits.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Right. So the story you told me earlier that had to do with math, it involves pattern making. Can you tell us about pattern making? What is a pattern?
Okay, so I think when most people hear pattern, they will think of like a motif, a decorative motif, like what I'm wearing right now is a pattern, right? But in fashion design, a pattern is a stencil that you will put on a piece of fabric and then cut them out. And then when you stitch all of these pieces together that you have cut out, you get a piece of clothing. I think it will be easier for you to understand if I show you an example. So
Okay.
I have here an example of a jacket pattern. So we will have a sketch of the design here of a jacket. And then in order to make this jacket, you need 3 sets of pattern for the shell fabric, the lining fabric, and then the fusing fabric. The fusing fabric is a material that you fuse into the main fabric to make it stiffer to create form in certain part of the garment.
Oh, okay.
And then you just sew all these pieces together and you get a jacket.
They sell these, don't they?
Yeah, they do sell these online. A lot of them, many designs online.
Yeah.
And in store as well, but I haven't seen them in store actually. I usually see people buy it online.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen them before. And so I guess you can take that piece, it's a paper, you put it on a piece of fabric and you cut along the paper and there you have it.
Yeah.
Oh, so in theory, I could do this if only I knew how to cut and sew.
It makes things easier if you buy a pattern like that, but you still need certain knowledge of pattern making and sewing to make a nice garment.
So those are patterns, and somehow you were telling me that some of these patterns can be a circle, and well, obviously I didn't see any circle on that pattern you were showing for a jacket. What would a circle be used for in fashion design?
A circle, you can use a circle to make a skirt.
No.
And I have an example here.
A skirt looks like this. A skirt
Yeah.
It's a triangle. It's not a circle.
Yeah, so I can show you. I have a circle here.
Okay.
And there's a hole in the middle.
That sounds like something I put around my neck.
It's like a donut. And then if you wear this small circle on your waist, you get a skirt.
Oh, I see. Okay. You win. A circle does make a skirt.
Yes.
A circle makes for a cone. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But it has extra stuff, right? When you were pulling up that circle, right? It doesn't make a clean triangle or clean cone. It has a lot of fluffiness.
Yeah. It creates ruffles. And,
ruffles. Okay, yeah. I guess those. That's what they're called, ruffles. Okay.
Or you can say more volume, like volume. Yeah.
That's also true. Because the volume of a cone, right? I get it. I'm not dumb. The math problem in the circle involves what?
So if you want to draw a circle skirt, you need to know it have to fit your waist, right? So you need to know your waist size.
Okay. My
And
waist height is greater than or equal to 33 inches. There we go.
okay, yeah. So if we know the waist size, we can calculate the radius of the circle here. So we can draw the circle to fit your waist. So the radius equal the circumference divided by 2 divided by pi, right?
Yeah, because circumference is 2 pi r, you divide by 2 pi both sides. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
hey,
you can substitute the circumference with your waist measurement, and then you figure out the radius, and then you can draw the circle.
good math.
And yeah, not only a
yeah.
full circle, you can change the volume or the level of roughness here
Okay.
by changing the number of circles that you fit into your waist. So for example, you want more ruffle, you want more volume, you try to fit 2 circles into your waist or even 3. And if you want less volume, more streamlined skirt, you will cut a half circle or 3/4 circle or 1/4 circle.
Okay, I will ask you about that 2 and 3 circles, but first I'll ask you about those fractions. What does a quarter circle or half circle skirt look like?
So just now we fit a full circle. I just fold it in half, but yeah, it's a full circle.
Okay.
We try to fit a full circle skirt into a waist, right?
Yeah, you know
And
what?
then here,
You know what that full circle skirt looks like? It looks like one of those skirts that Latin American women wear when they dance, because they can pull up completely, and then they like Valle Folklorico de Mexico, they have that skirt that goes up completely and they dance around like that.
So I think that's definitely more than one circle.
Oh yeah, maybe it may be more, but I'll have to ask you about that. Okay. And now, sorry for the interruption. You were showing me.
Oh, I was showing you a half circle skirt. So here's a half circle.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fold it in half. I also have a skirt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I can compare it with the other skirt for you to see. You see, they have the same waist size. The circumference of the circle in the middle is the same.
Okay, so it's not a smaller skirt. It's just the same skirt, but made out of a smaller part of a circle. I see.
Yeah. But you can see here, the full circle, it will have more volume. And this one has a bit less volume.
Oh, because it came from a full circle, so it has more things to fluff with. Hey, that makes sense.
And you will see it even more clearly if I use a quarter circle. So here's a quarter circle folded in half. You see it barely had any fold.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about 2 circle shirt, and it caught my attention because in my head, I'm thinking, wait, 2 circles make a figure 8. That's not a skirt. That's like a pair of glasses.
Oh, definitely it doesn't fit your waist like that, 2 circle. I show it from the full circle. So here's the full circle skirt, right?
Okay.
There's a hole in the middle.
Okay.
If I cut it out, and then I try to fit 2 of this into your waist.
Oh, okay.
You have a 2 circle skirt.
2 circle. And each circle is half my waist, right? So if I have a waist of like greater than or equal to 33, each of them is like 16 and a half or something.
Yeah.
33.
So you can already see, this is a full circle. You see less of the fold, the fabric fold. And then if you try to fit 2 circles, you see it's a lot more volume, more fold in the fabric.
So when you draw a circle, do you use a template or do you use a compass or what?
I will use a string because in real life measurements, the circle that you need to draw is pretty big and there isn't a compass that is big enough for that. So we use a string to draw.
Okay, so you hold one end of the string and then you draw the circle with the other end. So two circles makes more fluffs, and I guess three circles make even more fluff. What's the most number of circles that you have ever put on one skirt?
I don't remember making circle skirts that way, because when you start out making a very voluminous circle skirt, you don't start by deciding how many circles do you want. You started by deciding how many meters of fabric you want to put on a person's waist. So for example, I have 5 meters of fabric with a width of 1.6 meters. And I want to put all of this fabric into the skirt. Then I will try my best to make the most out of it. Yeah, basically.
So in metric units, what's a typical like woman's waist in your market in Vietnam?
The waist for size S is 64 centimeters.
Okay. So the question for you would be how many, let's say full circle, and how long do these gowns usually go for, like these skirts that are really voluminous usually?
Well, if it's a full length gown, even without a trim, just a full length gown, the length of the skirt would be around 1.2 meters.
So the question is, how many of those full circle shirts can you fit into a 1.6 by 5 piece of fabric? Hey, more math. Actually, I like this fact. You know why? Because this math problem is an area problem. And it's not a straight area problem because you also have to avoid each other on the piece of fabric.
Yes.
So it's what mathematicians call a space filling problem. Whereas the other one is just a straight like C equals 2 pi r question.
This problem will always give me a headache. It always give me a headache. It's easier to consult the customer because for them it's very hard to imagine like what's circle skirt, 3 circle skirt looks like. But if I say I will fit all this fabric, all these 5 meters to your waist, it's much easier for them to imagine.
Oh, okay.
But then I will have to do all the math, which is quite hectic.
Right, so the customer comes to you with a piece of fabric and said, I would like you to make me a skirt out of this. Is that what happens?
Yeah, sometimes it's they bring the fabric. Sometimes it's the fabric from the store.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, especially when they bring their fabric. For example, they want a bigger skirt, but they only have this much fabric. So I have to try to fit everything in.
Can you, and if it doesn't work out to be a nice and even number, like if you cannot have like a 2 circle skirt, can you make a full circle with a half circle and sort of stitch them together?
Yes, you can, but you have to make sure that the small circle inside, they all have the same radius. Because as you can see here, I will lay out the 3 skirt pattern together.
Okay.
You see different radius gives different curvature of the waistline, and hence it gives different volumes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you want to connect different pieces of skirt patterns, you should make sure that they're of the same curvature. So you should connect all of this. You can continue it here and here. But if you connect this one with this one like this, so you see?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. It's not even a circle.
Yeah, it's not even all around. Sometimes you will want that intentionally. So for example, like the customer will want more volume at the back and less volume in the front. So it's easier for her to walk around. Then you can do that, but it'll be intentionally.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
it depends on what you want, right? If you want.
Yeah, you have to control where you want more or less volume.
Well, fascinating. That's a lot of information and a lot of things I learned in a short time. Thank you very much. You sound like a good teacher. You also teach?
Oh, yeah. I teach pattern making in a fashion school in Vietnam.
Oh, perfect. Perfect person for me to ask about pattern making because you teach this
Yeah.
stuff.
It's very fun. It's a lot of math.
And you make your students do all this math?
Yeah, of course, I make all of them do it, but some are good at it, some are not.
So it's not true that all Asians are good at math all the time.
No, definitely not.
Well, thank you very much for talking to me. I hope you have a great day at your store, and thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was nice sharing all this information with you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.